Welcome to our tour of the Pantheon of Rome. Commissioned by Marcus Agrippa during the reign of Augustus, from 27 BC to 14 AD, and rebuilt by the Emperor Hadrian about 126 AD, the Pantheon is a perfect example of the massive scale and capabilities of Roman architecture. The building is circular, with a portico of large granite Corinthian columns under a pediment. A rectangular vestibule links the porch to the rotunda, which is under a coffered concrete dome, with a central opening to the sky. Almost 2,000 years after it was built, the Pantheon's dome is still the world's largest unreinforced concrete dome. The height to the oculus and the diameter of the interior circle are the same, at about 43.3 meters. While considered an architectural revolution, the Pantheon in many ways only pushed the capabilities of Roman architecture practiced for centuries prior, albeit to a monstrously large magnitude. The pozzolana cement, used by the Romans in building the Pantheon, has many properties similar to current standards. It would set and stay even in water and had high compression and tensile strength. However, it relied on hand-laid rubble for structure and natural tension between the bonds to create structural stability. We see in the case of the dome that the ability to hand-lay rubble allowed for lighter weight materials to be substituted into the construction process, enabling an overall lighter dome. As we admire its massive scale and interesting proportions, we can see one of the most peculiar and widely debated aspects of the Pantheon's design. The connection between the portico and the rotunda, created by the rectangular vestibule, appears to some awkward and obtuse, but to others simple and elegant. Scholars argue that the architect intended originally for the vestibule to be the main portico, and the second and smaller of the two was only added due to a lack of large columns at the time of its construction. Having used many of the empire's large columns to furnish his own temple, Hadrian did not have enough to support the height of the original portico, thus forcing the abrupt change in design. Scholars suggest that Hadrian used the sun and Pythagorean numbers in his design to assert his power. Some believe that the sun's ray, shining through the single oculus, acted as an informal sundial. The purpose, they believe, was to create a symbolic tie between Hadrian and the celestial bodies. In addition, several aspects of the structure utilize Pythagorean numbers to send a similar message. For example, 28 rings protrude from the one oculus. To Pythagoreans, the number 1 represents the sun, and the number 28 the moon. There are 5 coffered rings of the point. The number 5, made up of the first odd and even number, represents marriage to a Pythagorean. These 3 numbers combine to represent the marriage of the sun and the moon. Hadrian was an avid follower of astrology and Pythagoras, and used his knowledge to highlight his divine power. By running round iterative computational algorithms testing the distribution of weight of the supporting structure of the dome, modern architects have found that as cracks form in the cement, the dome loses its self-supporting structure. Instead of inevitable collapse, the rings on top of the dome, likely added after cracks were noticed, distribute the tensile stress more efficiently and effectively. As such, the cracks from this stress are distributed to areas that are predominantly compressive, thus not allowing more cracks to propagate. It is believed that the stepped rings may have developed from the Romans' building experience with planar arches. Additionally, the original bronze tile roofing may have been placed in order to protect the cracked dome from the elements. The popular belief regarding the dedication of the Pantheon refers to the Latin roots of the word. Pan, meaning all, and Theo, referring to the gods. While this logically would make sense, Cassius Dio remarks that he believes Agrippa, the designer of the Pantheon, cared more and intended to dedicate the monument to Augustus. When the emperor rejected this idea, Agrippa made the dedication to the deified Julius Caesar by placing a statue of him in the main temple. Dio contends that the name Pantheon describes the physical representation of the heavens that the building embodies.